who had propped himself up in the doorway. "Were you expecting somebody to dinner?" asked the boy. "Why, yes, old friend, I was." "I wish—" "Yes?" "Oh, nothing." The waiter left. The long boy hitched his back more firmly against the doorpost, and returned to his original theme. "That surely does smell good." He basked a moment in the aroma. "Yes, sir, I'll tell the world it does." Archie was not an abnormally rapid thinker, but he began at this point to get a clearly defined impression that this lad, if invited, would waive the formalities and consent to join his meal. Indeed, the idea Archie got was that, if he were not invited pretty soon, he would invite himself. "Yes," he agreed, "it doesn't smell bad, what?" "It smells good," said the boy. "Oh, doesn't it? Wake me up in the night and ask me if it doesn't." "Poulet en casserole," said Archie. "Golly!" said the boy reverently. There was a pause. The situation began to seem to Archie a trifle difficult. He wanted to start his meal, but it began to appear that he must either do so under the penetrating gaze of his new friend, or else eject the latter forcibly. The boy showed no signs of ever wanting to leave the doorway. "You've dined, I suppose, what?" said Archie. "I never dine." "What?" "Not really dine, I mean. I only get vegetables and nuts and things." "Dieting?" "Mother is." "I don't absolutely catch the drift, old bean," said Archie. The boy sniffed with half-closed eyes as a wave of the perfume from the poulet en casserole floated past him. He seemed to be anxious to intercept as much of it as possible before it got through the door. "Mother's a food reformer," he vouchsafed. "She lectures on it. She makes Pop and me live on vegetables and nuts and things." Archie was shocked. It was like listening to a tale from the abyss. "My dear old chap, you must suffer agonies, absolute shooting pains." He had no hesitation now. Common humanity pointed out his course. "Would you care to join me in a bite now?" "Would I?" The boy smiled a wan smile. "Would I? Just stop me on the street and ask me." "Come on in, then," said Archie, rightly taking his peculiar phrase for a formal acceptance, "and close the door. The fatted calf is getting cold." Archie was not a man with a wide visiting list among people with families, and it was so long since he had seen a growing boy in action at the table that he had forgotten what 16 is capable of doing with a knife and fork, when it really squares its elbows, takes a deep breath, and gets going. The spectacle which he witnessed was consequently at first a little unnerving. The long boy's idea of trifling with a meal appeared to be to swallow it whole and reach out for more. He ate like a starving Eskimo. Archie, in the time he had spent in the trenches making the world safe for the working man to strike in, had occasionally been quite peckish, but he sat dazed before this majestic hunger. This was real eating. There was little conversation. The growing boy evidently did not believe in table talk when he could use his mouth for more practical purposes. It was not until the final roll had been devoured to its last crumb that the guest found leisure to address his host. Then he leaned back with a contented sigh. "Mother," said the human python, "says you ought to chew every mouthful 33 times. "Yes, sir, 33 times." He sighed again. "I haven't ever had a meal like that." "All right, was it, what?" "Was it? Was it? Call me up on the phone and ask me? Yes, sir. Mother's tipped off these darned waiters not to serve me anything but vegetables and nuts and things, darn it." The mater seems to have drastic ideas about the good old feed-bag, what?" "I'll say she has. Pop hates it as much as me, but he's scared to kick. Mother says vegetables contain all the proteins you want. Mother says if you eat meat, your blood pressure goes all bluey. Do you think it does?" "Mine seems pretty well in the pink." "She's great on talking," conceded the boy. "She's out tonight somewhere, giving a lecture on rational eating to some ginks. I'll have to be slipping up to our suite before she gets back." He rose sluggishly. "That isn't a bit of roll under the napkin, is it?" he asked, anxiously. Archie raised the napkin. "No, nothing of that species." "Oh, well," said the boy resignedly. "Then I believe I'll be going. Thanks very much for the dinner." "Not a bit, old top. Come again if you're ever trickling round in this direction." The long boy removed himself slowly, loath to leave. At the door he cast an affectionate glance back at the table. "Some meal," he said devoutly. "Considerable meal." Archie lit a cigarette. He felt like a Boy Scout who has done his day's act of kindness. On the following morning it chanced that Archie needed a fresh supply of tobacco. It was his custom, when this happened, to repair to a small shop on Sixth Avenue, which he had discovered accidentally in the course of his rambles about the great city. His relations with John Blake, the proprietor, were friendly and intimate. The discovery that Mr. Blake was English, and had, indeed, until a few years back, maintained an establishment only a dozen doors or so from Archie's London club, had served as a bond. To-day he found Mr. Blake in a depressed mood. The tobacconist was a hearty, red-faced man, who looked like an English sporting publican, the kind of man who wears a fawn-coloured top-coat and drives to the Derby in a dog-cart. And usually there seemed to be nothing on his mind except the vagaries of the weather, concerning which he was a great conversationalist. But now moodiness had claimed him for its own. After a short and melancholy "good morning," he turned to the task of measuring out the tobacco in silence. Archie's sympathetic nature was perturbed. "What's the matter, laddie?" he inquired. "You would seem to be feeling a bit of an onion this bright morning, what, yes, no? I can see it with the naked eye." Mr. Blake grunted sorrowfully. "I've had a knock, Mr. Moom." "Tell me all, friend of my youth." Mr. Blake, with a jerk of his thumb, indicated a poster which hung on the wall behind the counter. Archie had noticed it as he came in, for it was designed to attract the eye. It was printed in black letters on a yellow ground, and ran as follows: "Cloverleaf Social and Outing Club. Grand Contest. Pie-Eating Championship of the West Side. Spike O'Dowd, champion, versus Blake's Unknown, for a purse of $50 and side bet." Archie examined this document gravely. It conveyed nothing to him, except, what he had long suspected, that his sporting-looking friend had sporting blood as well as that kind of exterior. He expressed a kindly hope that the other's unknown would bring home the bacon. Mr. Blake laughed one of those hollow, mirthless laughs. "There ain't no bloomin' unknown," he said bitterly. This man had plainly suffered. "Yesterday, yes, but not now." Archie sighed. "In the midst of life, dead?" he inquired delicately. "As good as," replied the stricken tobacconist. He cast aside his artificial restraint and became voluble. Archie was one of those sympathetic souls in whom even strangers readily confided their most intimate troubles. He was to those in travail of spirit very much what catnip is to a cat. "It's hard, sir, it's bloomin' hard. I'd got the event all sewed up in a parcel, and now this young feller, Me lad has to give me the knock.